Hey, good morning. Chuck here with Apple Drains. Today we are in a little town called Oviedo, and it's outside the city limits of Orlando, a little bit ways out, along the I-4 corridor where most people live. What we're doing is we're going to be installing channel drain. You can see the pool here, and a typical problem that we see all the time is that this micro channel drain is installed directly up against the foundation or the slab. Happens to be a lanai here, but regardless of, and of course you can see how dirty and filled up with dirt it is, it's not working. And what she's requested is that we put in this NDS 5-inch channel drain, which is a much larger channel drain to put down through here. So what we have to do is take our concrete saw, and we're going to make a cut all the way down across. This is about 35 feet all the way to the end of this patio, and then we go underground. Line will come across, it'll turn, and you can see we're putting in a sump basin here that's going to lift that water up and send it all the way out to the street. In addition, we're going to go ahead and put in some French drains along this side, because you can kind of see from the grade this water just sits here from both homes. It floods pretty badly. Excuse me, during the hurricane she had a real flood, came inside the house through this area back here, and that's what prompted doing all this work. So in addition to that, in addition to removing this concrete and putting the channel drain in, you can see we've got our jackhammer ready. That's going to discharge. The channel drain will discharge this direction and come across. We're going to put another sump basin over here on this side of the house, because this area floods tremendously as well. So she wants to pick the water up. We'll bring a French drain back and over to the sump basin, and then the 1.5-inch pipe's going to lift that water up. We'll use the same trench and come right down through and discharge out there by the sidewalk. So let's get started. Okay, concrete saw made us a nice clean cut all the way from this side of the pool patio, and you can see the cut all the way across. Don't worry if you're not perfectly straight, because you're putting concrete back and then you're going to refinish the deck, but it should look really good. We've got plenty of room to install the 5-inch NDS channel drain. Notice that we did run water to help keep that dust down, because we're working beside the pool. We keep it down anyways, but try to keep it out of your pool. So next we're going to go ahead and remove this concrete. We should be able to do that with the pry bar, and I think the pry bar is a lot easier than a jackhammer, only because the jackhammer weighs 70 pounds and you've got to pick it up and move it. Granted, it can break the concrete, but so can the pry bar. Just to show you how quickly this can get done, it took me 12 minutes to cut that concrete. Chuck's already got the pit installed, and you can see the line for the French drain, which is coming back to the pit, not going that way, but back to the pit. Already got quite a bit of this, dug out and ready to install. So you can see just with the pry bar, if you break 1-foot sections, it cracks right off. We did not need to do another cut, at least not yet, because the micro channel drain serves as a second cut. But we'll see how this goes. Chuck's going to show you again how to break this concrete. Real simple stuff. So with your pry bar, remember, it's just like a jackhammer. You can see how quickly that cracks. This is only a 3-inch pour, which is typical of a patio or a driveway. And then you can lift it up with your pry bar and just get that piece of concrete out and move on to the next section. Real simple.
You got some rebar on them?
So just pry up the concrete. Remember not to make them too heavy, because you got to carry them away. But usually a 1-foot section, these are probably about 40 or 50 pounds. That's almost a whole bag of concrete each section. So a 1-foot section is plenty. And remember, the jackhammer can break this too, but look how easy that came out with the pry bar. And you don't need to lift that pry bar, which weighs 70 pounds, and move it all around. It does wear you out. But to continue this process all the way through your channel, put it in your wheelbarrow, and then you haul it away wherever you're taking it. We're putting it in the trailer. If for some reason that concrete doesn't crack, keep hitting it in the same place over and over, just like the jackhammer. And of course, if you do have a hammer available, you can easily use that if necessary. So a couple of barrels of concrete have been removed. You can see where we are. And remember, when you clean out your trench for the channel drain, it's not much deeper than this grade. It's designed to set inside the concrete, so it's only 4 or 5 inches thick. I'll show you that in a second. Do not remove that much soil, because if you do, you're going to have to put it back in order to lay your channel drain. Channel drain, it runs level. This does have some pitch to it, some fall coming this direction. So the concrete's filling up the trailer pretty quick. We still have soil to remove. We got some in there underneath the concrete. And this is heavy stuff. Probably about 2 more barrels, maybe 3 more barrels of concrete to put up here. But when you put your concrete in your trailer or whatever you're putting it in, make sure you stack it up. You know, take care to make it look neat, because when you take it out, that's going to be when you're tired, and you want to make sure you can get it out easily. So there's just 2 more pieces. And then we'll wash this off, pull out the old channel drain that's in there, take that away as well. And like I said, we've got a nice clean trench to work with after that. We went ahead and explored both ends. This side looks good. The other side does have some obstacles, so we're going to have to go around those. You will find the same thing when you're installing yourself. You can see we've got a sprinkler. You know, the irrigation comes through there. We've also got, can you see this power box? I figured that'd be really deep, but you can see it right here. It's actually just underneath of the pavers, in fact on top of the ground, very shallow. We've got the sump basin, the sump pit. You can see it's down in the ground. It goes down 2 feet. But there'll be a line that comes from this side of the channel drain around into the sump basin. Then you can see we've got the catch basin and the French drain. Although we're using easy flow, that's actually starting there by the beginning of the fence. It runs back this direction and ties into the sump basin. And then we've got our sump pump. And the sump pump is the heart of the operation. This is a Zoller M98, half horsepower. It's going to push at least 60 gallons a minute. That's 2 trash cans full of water every minute. Very quick. Lift it up, goes through the check valve, through the 1.5-inch pipe. We use the same trench, save some labor. Same trench to, you know, put our 1.5-inch in as the French drain until we get to the end, and then of course it's all by itself. So somebody had put the ground wire right through the channel drain, the old micro channel drain, which is a good idea. You know, it keeps it out of the way, but you know, it'd be better if they'd have just put it under the channel drain rather than leave it through there. It's difficult to get it out. So we're pulling that loose, and then we'll be able to start to set our channel drain. Yep. And again, you can see, looking at the channel drain, just how full of mud they become if you don't maintain the drain. It's just full. There's no way to clean that. Setting up your NDS 5-inch channel drain. Remember that she wanted a larger drain for this pool, because this is all sloped from the pool back to that lanai, that patio screened-in area, and it just floods terribly. So we're putting a larger channel drain, much larger. But lay out your channel drain across your section, and then we're going to go ahead and set that in. We've got to get the right depth, so I went ahead and scraped it just a little bit. We're going to be low so that we can backfill underneath of it, and we'll get the perfect depth. So this will drain directly into the drain, and it'll slope from the patio back into the drain as well. Okay, so we're almost ready to lay this channel drain. Notice that we put some blue painter's tape over top of the grate, because we don't really want to get the concrete down in there. When we're all done, or the homeowner, either one, they can just rip that off and it should have a nice clean finish. So we've got this all stretched out, and we could come all the way to the end, but I like to make a finished look. So this will be concrete, and you can see it drops into the pipe. We'll do that on both ends. I always tape this, make it watertight, and that way we've got a good connection. We're just about ready to lay that drain. We'll clean this little bit of patio off, and you can see it's coming over. Same thing on this end. Remember, I taped the fitting as it comes in just to be watertight. Also secured that with screws, by the way, set screws. Line comes around, picks up the downspout, and goes into the sump basin. So setting this long of a channel drain does take some time and a little bit of work. But if you got a good bunch of guys to help you, or one more guy to help you mix your concrete, it goes real quick. Basically, we're just packing it in. Come on, Joe. We're just packing it in and finishing it off, trying to keep a good raise from the house back to the trench. So we've got a real good pour going on here. We can see our channel drain, and it may look a little sloppy because we got the tape there, but you know, once we pull that tape off, it's just a nice clean grate all the way down. What we're trying to do is keep it high towards the house, so there's a pretty good sized mound, because this pool, if you can see the slope of that deck of the pool, holy cow, when it rains, it just poured right through here and into that porch. So the little micro channel drain, which you saw was all clogged up, it didn't do anything. So we put a much larger channel drain in at her request, and this should take this water away, you know, through major events. Of course, a hurricane, you can't ever tell. You can get 20 inches of rain. And of course, it's not going to keep up with that. But average rainfall is maybe 2 inches. It should handle it really well. So when you got your trowel, the idea is to just, you know, make your mix fairly dry actually, but you can see how you do it. You hit that trowel down in there, and that'll bring the cement right up to the top, and that's how you get your finish. You can always add a little bit more and just smack it, pound it down in, and then come back with your trowel, and you make a real nice smooth finish. As you look down the trench, it should look pretty good. So if you got a couple of guys to help you, you can see one guy can mix, the other guy can be the finisher. One guy mixes it, he puts it in the trench. Be sure that you pile it kind of high. Don't spread it low, because when you pull it back, you end up with dirt in there, if that makes sense. Keep it kind of high on your little piles, and you'll be able to finish that right out. So you can see our channel drain, and again, all you need to do is let that cure and then pull off that tape, and you'll have a nice finished grate across the top. We're just coming to the very end here. Chuck's just finishing it out, making it look really good. It's going to come out really nice. So out here where we're discharging, we're going to use a 3" 90, which is thin wall. So we've got to adapt from schedule 40 to thin wall. We use this little donut, and this adapts directly to it. Real simple. Go ahead and glue up your fitting. We'll get it on the inside of this one as well. A lot of glue in there. And then the donut just slides on. Twist it a little bit, let it set up. Then we're going to glue this fitting. We'll do that right now. Good amount of glue. And these two will bond. They kind of make a mechanical bond, but it'll be plenty tight enough. Nice and straight. Then we'll put our grate on the top, and we're going to put a screw in right here, a set screw, just to hold that, because you can see it's kind of loose, and that pump is powerful. It's going to push that right off if you don't secure it. So on your pop-up, on your grate, whether you're using a pop-up or a grate, I would suggest you put a set screw in here, because your pump, even 1/3 of a horsepower, is quite powerful, and this, we just don't want this to blow off of there. Just one screw. Here's an example of an oceanfront home, and you can see how they build this foundation. There's actually a pier of concrete that sits on. Watch for the upcoming video of how we waterproof this type of foundation.
Hey, this is Chuck with Apple Drains, reminding you that if you believe you can do something, I guarantee you can do it. Have a great day.
Hey everybody, Nash and Joe with the Tampa Drain Dudes.
We are incredibly excited to announce that we are now partnered with Apple Drains. And what that means is that we are going to be taking over all of their clientele in this Tampa Bay area, which also includes...
We're going to go as far north as Brooksville. We're going to go as far east as Lakeland, and south as South Tampa, St. Petersburg area. If the job is the right size and we really need to help our clients out, we'll go a little bit more north, a little bit more east, and a little bit more south, just depending on what you guys' needs are. Joe, you got anything to add?
We're going to cover all exterior drainage that you may need: French drains, sump pumps, channel drains, gutter downspout redirection, all that good stuff. So check us out, tampadraindudes.com. We are incredibly happy and thankful for this experience to partner with Chuck from Apple Drains.